The glass doors of Winston Tower slide open. The morning rush is in full swing. Business professionals hustle inside, clutching lattes, checking their watches, too busy to notice the man standing by the entrance. A tall black man in a neatly pressed security uniform stands at his post. His name tag reads Darius. His posture is firm, but his eyes calm, observant, miss nothing. Inside, high above the city on the 42nd floor, Marcus Langley, CEO of Langley Tech, leans back in his leather chair. He's surrounded by executives nodding at every arrogant word. Marcus scoffs. I'm not wasting millions to renovate this building. These security guards barely do their job, and I'm paying for that. Laughter ripples through the boardroom. Moments later, Marcus strides into the lobby. A Bluetooth earpiece glows in his ear, his voice dripping with condescension. This company deserves professionals, not glorified mall cops. Darius stands at his post. Marcus notices him. Something about him, his quiet confidence, annoys him. Marcus stops. Hey, you. Security. Darius turns, his expression unreadable. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Marcus says, smirking. You work here. Darius nods. I do. Marcus sneers. Of course. Listen, I need access to my office, and I don't have time for games. Darius remains calm. Do you have your ID, sir? Marcus' expression hardens. Excuse me? Building policy, Darius says, tapping the badge scanner. Employees must show ID at security checkpoints. Marcus chuckles coldly. I don't need to show ID. I own the top floor. You're just a security guard. Darius' expression doesn't change. Even the CEO follows policy. Marcus' face turns red. This is exactly what I mean. They let people like you stand around, pretending to have authority. Darius' eyes flicker, but he remains composed. Rules apply to everyone. Marcus steps closer. I don't have time for this. You're fired. A few bystanders glance over. Darius remains steady. I don't work for you, he says, his voice even. Marcus blinks. Excuse me? Darius steps forward. You're CEO of Langley Tech. But Langley Tech doesn't own this building. Marcus scoffs. Oh, so you suddenly know everything? A pause. Darius tilts his head. You could say that. Marcus narrows his eyes. Listen here, you wannabe cop. Before he can finish, a voice interrupts. Mr. Langley, is there a problem? A sharply dressed woman approaches, holding a clipboard. Her ID badge reads, Building Manager. Marcus spins around. Yes, there's a problem. This security guard is wasting my time. Get rid of him. The manager hesitates. Then she looks at Darius. Is that true? Darius nods. He refused to show his ID. Marcus laughs bitterly. This is insane. I've been in this building for years. The manager turns to Marcus. Sir, security follows strict protocols. If you don't have ID, I can escort you to get a temporary pass. Marcus stares. You're siding with him? The manager clears her throat. With Mr. Carter, yes. Marcus' expression shifts. Mr. Who? She exhales. Mr. Darius Carter. Something in her voice makes Marcus hesitate. She turns to Darius. Would you like to handle this, sir? Marcus frowns. Wait, sir. Darius looks directly at Marcus. Then he reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a key card. Not just any key card, an executive-level access card. He holds it up. The scanner beeps. Green light. Marcus' stomach drops. Darius exhales. Mr. Langley, I do work here, but not as security. A heavy silence. The manager clears her throat. Darius Carter is the majority shareholder of Winston Tower. He owns the building. Marcus' blood runs cold. The same man he just insulted, the one he dismissed as just security, is his landlord. Darius watches Marcus face pale. Then, slowly, he removes the security badge from his shirt. He tosses it on the desk. "I like to keep an eye on my investments," he says, his voice steady. "This building, the people in it, how they treat others." Marcus swallows hard. I didn't know." Darius tilts his head. "Didn't think you needed to?" Marcus opens his mouth, but no words come out. The manager steps forward. "Mr. Carter, would you like me to?" Darius holds up a hand. "No need." He looks at Marcus. "You're right about one thing," Darius says. "Not all employees deserve to work in this building." Marcus stiffens. What do you mean?" Darius' eyes flicker with something unreadable. "We'll talk soon." And with that, he turns. The sound of his footsteps echoes through the lobby. Marcus stands frozen, his heart pounding. The entire building feels different now, as if the walls have eyes, watching, waiting. And just as the elevator doors close behind Darius, Marcus realizes. Marcus barely hears the murmurs around him. His mind races. His pulse pounds in his ears. Darius Carter. The name now feels like a wrecking ball to his ego. How could he, a self-made CEO, a powerhouse in the tech industry, be humiliated like this? By some security guard who turned out to be his landlord? It doesn't make sense. He storms toward the elevators, jabbing the button repeatedly. His reflection in the polished steel doors looks different, smaller. The doors slide open. He steps inside. His top-floor office. That's where he'll regain control. The elevator ascends, but his mind sinks lower. What did Darius mean by "we'll talk soon"? Was that a threat? A notification dings on his phone. His assistant, Vanessa, texts. "Urgent. Meeting request from Mr. Carter. Conference room. 30 minutes. Marcus' stomach twists. 30 minutes later, he steps into the glass-walled conference room. The air feels heavier. Darius Carter sits at the head of the long mahogany table. Fingers steepled, expression unreadable. Beside him, the building manager, and next to her, Langley Tech's legal counsel. Marcus stops cold. "What's going on?" Darius gestures to the chair across from him. "Sit." Marcus clenches his jaw but obeys. Darius exhales. "Let's get straight to it." He slides a document across the table. Marcus stares at it, then at Darius. "What is this?" Darius leans back. "Your lease." Marcus' eyes flick over the paperwork. "Lease termination notice." His stomach drops. You're evicting me?" Darius tilts his head. "Do you really think I'd let a man like you continue operating under my roof?" Marcus swallows. "This is insane. I've been in this building for years." Darius folds his arms. "And yet, you didn't even know who owned it." The manager clears her throat. "Mr. Langley, as per the contract, the building owner reserves the right to terminate any lease if tenants violate the terms, including creating a hostile work environment." Marcus' breath catches. "Hostile? I didn't." Darius raises an eyebrow. "You belittled my employees, disrespected building staff. And let's not forget." He leans forward. "You looked me in the eyes and called me just security." Marcus' mouth goes dry. Darius taps the papers. "You have 30 days to vacate. Unless." Marcus clings to that word. "Unless what?" Darius' eyes narrow. "Unless you prove you belong here." A tense silence. Darius exhales. "You think power makes you untouchable. That because you wear a tailored suit, you're above people." He gestures around the room. "This entire building runs on the backs of people like the ones you insult. Marcus grips the table. You're punishing me because I didn't know who you were? Darius tilts his head. No. I'm punishing you because you showed your true colors before you knew. Marcus grits his teeth. So what? You want me to grovel? Apologize? Darius leans in. No. He slides another document forward. Marcus blinks. A merger agreement. Darius' voice is calm, but there's steel behind it. I own this building, but I'm about to own more. Marcus' throat tightens. You're trying to buy me out? Darius shrugs. Business is business. Marcus laughs bitterly. You set me up. Darius smirks. No, Marcus. You set yourself up. The tension in the room is suffocating. Marcus stares at the document. If he refuses, he's out of the building, disgraced, humiliated. If he accepts, he's at Darius' mercy. His hands shake as he pushes back from the table. This isn't over. Darius nods. You're right. A beat of silence. Then Darius stands. 30 days, Marcus. He walks past him, his voice smooth, steady. Make your choice. Marcus sits frozen as Darius exits, leaving behind only the merger contract, and a sinking feeling that he's just lost everything. Marcus doesn't sleep that night. His office feels like a prison cell, the walls closing in. The merger contract lies on his desk, untouched. Darius Carter played him, humiliated him, and now he expects him to sign away his company? Marcus grips his whiskey glass, his jaw tight. 30 days. That's all he has to turn this around. The next morning, he calls an emergency meeting with his board of directors. They sit around the massive glass table, their faces tense. Marcus clears his throat. We're not signing that merger. A murmur spreads through the room. One of the directors, a graying man named Whitaker, leans forward. Marcus, with all due respect, Darius Carter holds all the leverage. We operate from his building. Marcus shakes his head. Then we move. We relocate. We do not let this man take what's ours. Silence. Then Vanessa, his assistant, hesitates. Sir, we can't relocate. Marcus frowns. Why not? Vanessa swallows. Because Mr. Carter doesn't just own this building. She slides a folder across the table. Marcus flips it open, then freezes. Page after page of property deeds. Marcus' stomach twists. Darius doesn't just own this building. He owns 5 in the city, including the only other high-end office spaces available. Marcus' throat goes dry. If they move into another one of Darius' buildings. If they refuse the merger, he could raise rent anywhere. Marcus clenches his fists. Darius didn't just trap him. He boxed him in completely. The board members exchange glances. Whitaker clears his throat. Marcus. Maybe it's time we consider the merger. Marcus slams the folder shut. We are not giving in. A beat of silence. Then Vanessa hesitates. Sir. There's something else. She looks nervous. She taps her phone and slides it across the table. A news article. Marcus reads the headline. His hands go ice cold. CEO of Langley Tech faces backlash after allegedly insulting security guard, who turned out to be the building owner. Marcus' heart pounds. He scrolls. The article details everything. His words, his insults, his arrogance, and worse, is going viral. His eyes snap to Vanessa. How the hell did this leak? She hesitates. Someone must have recorded the confrontation in the lobby. Marcus breathes heavily. It's over. If this spirals, investors will pull out. Clients will abandon ship. And his company, his legacy will crumble. A slow realization settles in. Darius didn't just outmaneuver him. He destroyed him. Unless Marcus exhales shakily. Schedule a meeting with Darius. Vanessa nods and hurries out. 30 minutes later, Marcus steps into Darius' office. Darius lounges behind his sleek black desk, calm, powerful, untouchable. He gestures to the chair. Sit. Marcus does. He leans forward, voice low. You win. Darius raises an eyebrow. Do I? Marcus exhales. I'll sign. Darius watches him carefully. Then he slides a different document across the table. Marcus frowns. Not the merger contract. A resignation letter. His pulse pounds. Darius folds his hands. You don't get to stay. Marcus stiffens. You're forcing me out? Darius tilts his head. You built a company on arrogance. On stepping on the people beneath you. That culture? That starts with you. Marcus clenches his jaw. This is my company. Darius leans in. Not anymore. A heavy silence. Then, Darius smirks. But don't worry. He taps the paper. I'll take good care of it. Marcus grips the pen. His fingers tremble. And with a deep breath, he signs. The ink dries. And just like that, Langley Tech no longer belongs to Marcus Langley. Darius picks up the papers, nodding in satisfaction. He stands, extends a hand. Marcus looks at it. For the first time in his life, he knows he's been beaten. He shakes it. Darius smirks. Pleasure doing business with you. Marcus turns and walks out, past the office that's no longer his, past the employees whispering about the fall of Marcus Langley, past the building that he used to control. And as he steps onto the sidewalk, he realizes something. He was never at the top. He was just waiting to fall. Like, share and subscribe for more powerful stories.